everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are really excited today. We have with us actress and writer Katy Breier here, and she is the co-writer for Operation Nutcracker that just was released on Hallmark Movies Now. And Katy, thank you so much for coming on talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So since your first time on the show, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started, I guess, both acting and writing.
Yeah, my name is Katy Breier, as you mentioned. I've been acting since I was around, I think 13 when I did my first short film, and it was bit pretty quick. Started
Uh-huh.
doing local musical theater, and my mom insisted
Oh.
that if I wanted to pursue it, I had to get some training. So I went to theater school and started kind of working professionally as of 19 years old. So it's been a long haul, and
Uh-huh.
writing came a little bit more recently. It's always been a passion of mine, and I've been a rom-com fan from the get.
Uh-huh.
Like I cannot tell you how many times would skip plans with friends. Like while all my friends were out partying and having a great time, I was rewatching You've Got Mail. That's
Yeah.
that's where I sit
Same.
comfortably. Yeah. So I've just been like studying and adoring movies ever since I was a kid, and got into writing like my own short films when I was
Uh-huh.
probably 20 years old. Nothing really came of it until the pandemic when me and my co-writer Erica Deutschman and I decided that we were gonna take a crack at it. Some people had sourdough, we had making movies.
Screenwriting. Yeah. Yeah.
So we started writing, and we got um, a friend of ours who his name is Marcus Rosner.
Uh-huh.
He's been
We
working
know
in California. I'm
Marcus.
sure many people
Yeah.
are very familiar. Uh, he, I guess he just decided to support a friend and took an interest in our writing ambition and made a connection, and it's kind of snowballed ever since. But it's such a lucky story. I cannot say enough
Uh-huh.
how lucky we got. Um, it's much harder for many other people, but we got really lucky. And in a short span, we sold a bunch of movies.
Yeah,
So,
that's so great. So you started as a teenage actress,
yeah.
and you said musical theater. What was like your big musical theater role?
Oh, I did, there were very small productions.
Uh-huh.
A lot of local,
Yeah.
this is back in Montreal too, so even
Uh-huh.
smaller.
Yeah,
But
because I'm a theater critic as well. So
oh, are you really?
I love
Oh, no.
theater.
You wouldn't have seen anything I did. And I'm happy that you didn't because I'm not sure I was any good, but I did like it. My favorite role I think I ever did was Logan in the 25th annual Putnam County.
Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yep.
I have never enjoyed maybe a character more in my
Yeah.
life. It might have been my acting high point so far.
Spelling bee is a lot of fun. It's
Oh,
it, it's very funny. And the jokes really, especially if you get good improvers, the being the judges, they that really makes a big
I
difference.
honestly, I'm so grateful that I didn't have to improv because they had incredible improvers in this production.
Yeah.
Every night I was like sitting there in the audience, like, oh God,
Yeah.
what am I gonna say?
Yeah. 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 That's funny. Well, so when was what was your first role on camera? Do you remember?
I mean, besides a short film that no one saw,
Right.
we did my first role on camera was actually a show called Being Human, um,
Okay.
vampire, ghost, werewolf type of show. Um,
Okay.
and I was 19 when I booked it, and it was my first time ever dying on camera. That's kind of my go-to is I write really fluffy, funny, romantic stuff. When I'm acting, crying, dying, hysterical,
Yeah.
trauma, like that
Yeah.
seems to, I live in two opposite polarities in my art.
That's funny.
So that was my first time dying on camera. I got my throat ripped out by a vampire. Um, Played by the beautiful Sarah Allen, who is still a friend to this day. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think, and it was originally an English, like a British show that they did an American remake of in Canada, which seems
Uh-huh.
how these things always go.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good for your first time on camera, like to have a, death scene like that. That's pretty fun.
Right. It was great. And it perfectly fit into she was like a very nerdy, bumbling nurse who was flirting
Yeah.
with a very handsome vampire. And like, honestly, it was kind of a dream at
Yeah.
19. I was just like, I don't even think I was acting. I think I was genuinely quite flustered. So it all just came pretty naturally to me.
Now, what's it like? You've been on some pretty big shows like The Boys and Murdoch Mysteries. What's it like being on a show like that?
Oh, I mean, those are two completely different
Yeah.
experiences. They both come with their fair share of fandom.
Uh-huh.
Murdoch and Boys, I would say, here in Canada especially, have I've been kind of recognized more for Murdoch Mysteries than I have for the Boys, actually. Um, I mean, it's
People love
incredible.
that show. I mean,
They
both
are
shows. People love that show.
wild though. I don't think I
Yeah.
quite understood how intense the fans of Murdoch Mysteries were, and it's wonderful. And they come of all ages too. I was
Yeah.
once at an event when I was working an event, and a bunch of 13-year-olds came up to me and they're like, "Did you play Lydia Hall on Murdoch Mysteries?" And I was in my uniform, like I was catering an event because,
Yeah.
Canadian actor, that's just the way it goes. So I'm in my uniform with my headset on, and all these 13-year-olds are coming up to me like, "Can we take a photo with you? You're famous." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. As soon as I serve the entrees, I'll get back with you and we can take that photo."
That's really funny.
It's great. Like that show is such a
Yeah.
well-oiled machine. They've been doing it
Uh-huh.
for so long that
Yeah.
jumping in, you're working with pros.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what they're doing. It's seamless and
Hmm.
it's fun. Like because it's everyone knows each other so well and they know what they're doing. There's no kind of hiccups. There's no growing pains. It's just you come in, you do
Hmm.
your job, you get out. And
Yeah.
my character was a lot of fun. She was a burlesque dancer, so the
Oh, okay.
costumes were incredible.
Uh-huh.
The things like I got to jump out of a cake, I got to go into a roller derby. It was amazing. Every
Yeah.
episode, like I was so excited to read every script just to see what scenario they were going to throw me in this time.
Uh-huh. Cool. Yeah, that sounds really fun. I've been meaning to watch that show. It's just so hard with my life because I'm just so busy with all the film and theater that if it's a TV show I'm not covering on the podcast,
Yeah,
then I have a hard time fitting in. But I've
there's
heard
only so
nothing
much.
but good things.
Yeah, there's only so much content you can consume.
Yeah.
You still have to, eat, see people.
Yeah. During Christmas, I try to make everything all happen all at the same time, but
Oh my
I
God,
do
that
my
must be the
best.
crazy time of year for you.
It is really hard because not only do I have all the Christmas content to watch and cover, but since I'm a film critic, I have all of the Oscar screeners to watch at the same time. Because our nominations for the groups I'm in are
Yeah.
due. Last year was December 13th, so I had to have everything watched by December 13th.
Oh my God.
While covering all the Christmas, yeah, whew,
You just
that was
like don't
tough.
see real people.
Yeah.
The people are coming out of the screen at you, like they're
Yeah,
your
I pretty much
now.
I've become hermit woman during
Yeah,
the
to
holidays.
do that voluntarily, and no one's paying me to do it. So
Right.
like, and that kind of sounds like a dream for me.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
so during the pandemic, you decided to give us writing a try. So like, what's your dynamic with Erica as far as doing these scripts? Do you like each do a section and then, or how do you make it work
It
together?
was entirely collaborative. I have a very fast-paced ADHD brain. She's much more technical. So we would kind of sit down, the two of us, and kind of, because we're also both actors, we would go back and forth with dialogue and she would kind of transcribe as I was pacing back and forth in the room. I'm painting a real picture here for
Yeah.
podcast listeners, but
So you're actually together, like in
yeah.
the same room often when you write.
Often we would do it over Zoom and FaceTime a lot because she was in LA and actually she's in
Okay.
Montreal now, and so we're kind of exploring our separate writing careers. But it was entirely collaborative. We would come up with the ideas together, and then once one would get approved, we would sit down, and it really was just two people bouncing ideas back and
Yeah.
forth. There's many different ways that people collaborate on a script, and I've listened to other podcasts and people describe the way that they work. I can't even, it's baffling to me how people can be so together while writing separately. I'm a little, I don't want to say OCD because that feels like I'm trivializing an actual thing, but I get so nitpicky. I need to be hands into the scene.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Because I would think that would be hard because everybody has sort of their unique styles and making it kind of mesh together. But I guess if you were doing it on like the same call where you're literally writing it together, I think that's very interesting to me.
It's hard to find a good writing partner in general.
Yeah.
It kind of struck gold because it really doesn't happen often where your brains just click that way. And that's why, Erica's written with other people. I've tried to write with other people. Sometimes when it works, it just works.
Yeah.
And you know it. And so while the first movie that we wrote, it really at times I would embody one character and she would embody another one. And it would just feel like we were two characters having a conversation. And she would write it down as our vomit draft. The first pass is us just going back and forth and kind of seeing what happened.
Yeah. That's interesting. Because it's obviously working. You guys have had 5 movies since 2023 come out.
Yeah, no,
that's amazing.
We've gotten very, very, very lucky. It's a lot of work. We don't, as I'm sure every writer will talk about, there's no weekend. There's no 9 to 5. It's either you're actively writing or you're thinking about writing.
Yeah.
Or you're watching something and an idea pops into your head and you write it down. There is no break. So, and that's, we take it seriously and it's our passion. So doesn't even seem like work.
Yeah, and that's true. Anything in the creatives, it's really all encompassing. I don't know how anybody makes relationships and having kids. I'm just how do you do it? Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I have a conversation with my friends sometimes and they'll just be telling me about a date they had. And I'm like, stop 1 second. Then he said, what? Oh, no. Okay, and what were you wearing? That was an interesting question. Okay,
right.
Dissecting the entire scene, and they're like, "This is my life. Can we just talk?"
Yeah, that's true. It really is. No, it's true. That was I did not think this recent bunch of Godzilla movies have been. I love Godzilla -1, but the American ones I didn't think were very good. But there was one character that I really liked, played by Brian Tyree Henry, who is a podcaster. And usually Hollywood completely gets podcasters wrong. They don't understand it at all. But this, they actually got him right. And the way, because he's like a paranormal, whatever, thing, podcaster. Okay. And the way that he would ask questions and he'd be like, "Oh, will you come on my podcast?"
Oh,
that's absolutely right. It's not in in my opinion, most of the time, it's not in a aggrandizing way. It's in a this is so cool. I really want to hear, I really want you to come on my podcast.
Of course, if you're a podcaster, you're so interested in people, in stories that you want to capture all these conversations. Yeah. I totally get it. I 100% get it.
Yeah. But anyway, so what was the first project that the one that you collabed with Marcus on? What was that one that you first got off the ground?
So he helped us make our initial connections with Real One Entertainment.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. And the first one we collaborated with him was called working title was For the Love of Pasta. That's how I know it. But I think they changed it to Pasta with Amore. I can't even remember. These titles changed.
From Italy with Amore.
Italy with Amore.
Nice.
From pasta to Amore writer. So, me. I'm clearly amazing. So that was the first one that I think they produced, and him and his producing partner, they actually produced that one as well as him starring in it, which was wonderful. And that was always the dream. The idea was we will write. Marcus liked our voice. We like to think that we had kind of an interesting, quippy dialogue pattern of, we wanted to make sure that when we entered this space that we weren't just fitting in with everyone else. We wanted to bring our own unique flavor to it. And Eric and I are both a bit we like to lean towards the comedy.
Which I appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah, when they don't forget to be funny. I really
because it's there's only so much sincerity you can stomach. I think we need something to lighten it up, and so Marcus really appreciate that in our work, and so he vouched for us, and then we got that one off the ground, and then it snowballed into, I think together we made, I think it was four or five together since I think it might be maybe four, and they were honestly they're some of my favorites because Marcus and his team really let our dialogue shine. There's, as everyone who writes knows, note taking and the note giving process can, sometimes strip away elements that you really feel passionate about, be it humor or different like character elements. Marcus and his team really let us fly and let the humor reign through. And it's been a wonderful collaboration, and I can't wait to do more.
Yeah. So Marcus Wasby, so he was in Coupled Up for Christmas. He was in the Italy one, Teen Bride, and Finding Mr. Right.
Yes.
So you're right. Yeah. He's your good luck charm.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of is. And that from Italy with Amore was really fun because, again, me and Erica love food and pasta, and nothing is more nothing ruins a diet more than writing about pasta. Every day after we were finished writing, we would have to go upstairs and get ourselves a bowl of something because it was impressive.
That would do it for me.
I loved it. And a lot of these movies are just write about cookies, write about croissants, write about cupcakes, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna fit in any of my clothes anymore.
Was it fun to do Kiss the Cook and end up with Erica in the lead?
Oh my God, that was the dream come true.
Yeah.
It was always kind of a dream of ours, was that she would get to act in them and I would get to act in them as well. And it happened the once. So, we can check that off the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, and it was I think it was our first movie too. So we kind of struck right off the bat. And then
and Andrew Buchel is a favorite. I love him so much. If anyone was going to ask me who would I champion, to get more leads, to be he's so good.
I love him so much. I met Andrew when I did a short film. He was I think maybe I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I was kind of coming in to do it as a favor, and it was a small role. And he also had a small role, but he was in his improv. Speaking of amazing,
he was in Second City. He's funny.
Beyond being charming and handsome, I think those are secondary and tertiary to his humor. He is the funniest guy and sweet to boot.
Yeah.
But he I remember watching him in the short film and almost getting distracted in the scene and being I found a star.
Yeah.
I discovered a star, everyone. You're welcome. Here he is. He's incredible. So
I really do. He's so good. And it just, I don't know. I will keep banging the Andrew Bichelle drum as much as I can.
Same, ditto, till the day I die. I think he's wonderful. And we were lucky enough to have him in 2 of our movies now. So the other one was Christmas Plus One of my favorites.
Oh yeah. I forgot he was in
Yeah.
that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, smaller role, but he nailed it.
He brings it. Yeah, he does. And the Christmas retreat, that one was a lot of fun. We had Rhiannon on for we do a patron watch along where we watch a movie with a talent. Yeah, it's really fun for our patrons. And we did that for the Christmas retreat with Rhiannon. She's so sweet. And it's just that was I feel like that one was sort of a classic formula pick, but executed well.
Yeah, that was an interesting project. It was actually written it was one of our spec scripts that we had written, Eric and I, before we'd even sold one. We wrote this one just like in lockdown. We were staying in a house somewhere and we were like, let's just sit down for a week and just write. So we wrote this idea, very classic. We like to take a classic model and see if we could put a bit of a spin on it. And usually we would do that in our dialogue, see how interesting we can make our the dynamics between the different characters. So there's a mother-daughter dynamic in that movie in particular that I really loved. I loved kind of shining a light.
Yeah, that was good. I liked that. Yeah, with the mother.
Yeah. And so playing with that was really, really fun. And then as the process continued, it really evolved. Like the movie from the first script that we sent in, you would not even recognize it. It's crazy how much these scripts can transform.
Yeah, I have no doubt of that.
It's wild. It's wild. And it's kill your darlings, you know? You have to always remind yourself as a writer that you don't get attached to anything because it could change like that. And it's nothing to do with the quality. It's just what people are looking for.
Well, and you can't not get attached. Like, it's your writing, but you just have to stomach it and move on.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't sting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there are moments where I grieve characters. I grieve them. And I put a pin in them. I say, maybe I'll revisit. There's a character named Marshall who will live in my heart forever, who's never seen the light of day, but one day I will bring this man to life. I have him, I'm keeping him close to my chest, and one day you will see a Marshall on screen and you'll know.
Okay, I'll look for Andrew Bichelle playing a character named Marshall.
Yes. Oh, he would be perfect. He would be perfect.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay.
But we love Rhiannon. She's one of the, I've said this before, one of the actresses who, when we watched her bring our dialogue to life, we were like, she understands. She gets it.
She's great. Yeah. She won our Christmas movie queen last year for 2020. Yeah. 2023. I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Elise Murray and her exciting book, Society Girl. Set in the mysterious world of Oxford University's secret societies, Society Girl follows Sam, a duke's estranged daughter, as she attempts to join the most famous club of them all, the Animos Society. Her final initiation challenge is simple. Find a man, convince him she's in love with him, and then break his heart in humiliating fashion. Hardened by her father's rejections, believing that the Animos Society is her key to his love and acceptance, Sam throws herself into making Dano Best, her father's chauffeur and local musician, fall for her, but she never counted on falling in love with him right back. Fans of Colleen Hoover, Anna Hong, and Mia Sheridan will love Society Girl, a sweeping romance from best-selling novelist and screenwriter Elise Murray. Free for Kindle Unlimited users for a limited time. Go to elisemurray.com/novels/Society Girl for more information. Or you can use the affiliate link below. And so writing a love song, this one was like a little bit different than some of these other ones. I enjoyed it though. I liked it so much. I had Connor, I think, on the podcast. I had him on after.
Great.
Yeah. So I liked it. I thought that they were a good match, the two of them. And again, took like a familiar story, but well done.
Yeah, that was a really fun experiment for us. And again, we've been in the industry for a relatively short amount of time. It's approximately like 4 years since we got into this. But we've been thrown a bunch of really interesting challenges along the way. One of which was taking a script that was already.
So this was a rewrite?
It was a rewrite. We were hired we were brought on to kind of give it a bit of a revamp for whatever reason. Again,
Yeah.
there's no reason. The original script was great. They just needed a new set of eyes on it.
Yeah.
So we came in and we brought our own perspective on the story and our own take on the characters and gave it a bit of a zhuzh. And it was a lot of fun, a challenge also to like kind of conform to someone else's idea that's been put in place. So but I love it. I love nothing more than a challenge. And Connor and Nina did such a great job bringing it to life.
Yeah, they were really good together.
Yeah, and I worked with Connor later on, totally unrelated, on another movie that we've both been cut from, which was a shame.
Oh,
we had this whole story. We played husband and wife in this movie. We had a baby in it. It was this whole big thing, and of course, we get cut from it.
Oh,
that's life. And Nina and I did another movie together that was in TIFF, and we just met randomly through that and became fast friends. And I was like, it's such a weird interconnected world.
Yeah,
everyone knows
that's true. I mean, you never want to burn bridges in this world. That's for sure.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed Operation Nutcracker. I think because it was on Movies Now, it wasn't on, it could be on the main channel. I was kind of like, I don't know. And to be frank, Christopher's had a bunch of misses in a row for me lately. Okay. And so I was a little bit skeptical. And then I watched it and I thought it was really fun, charming. It had the feeling of sort of the screwball comedies that I love so much, like in the vein of your something like Barbara Stanwyck or Christmas Connecticut, these kind of things that I love so much. And so I just really appreciated it. I thought it was a very fun little movie.
I appreciate you saying that so much. My original inspiration for this was What's Up, Doc with
okay, good. Yeah.
That I love that movie. One of the movies that I would just rewatch every weekend. I was so obsessed with her like Bugs Bunny-esque character. I don't
well, and in What's Up, Doc, you've got all the missing bags. Yes. And in this you have the missing bags and the Nutcracker.
I thought that was the most charming meet cute you could ever have.
Yeah.
I would have leaned even more into the screwball had I been given the to do so, but I wasn't. Not yet. But I'm so happy that you say that because that is Christmas in Connecticut is another one. I just love understanding. I love a scavenger hunt. I love the idea of two people I will go to an escape room any day of the week. Someone invite me, I'll go because I want to join forces with my friends and solve a mystery. That's pretty much all I want.
Yeah.
So this is my opportunity to kind of dive into that. And I had such a blast mapping it out. It's hard.
I bet.
To match the screwball with the Hallmark tone.
Yeah.
That's tricky, but we did our best.
Yeah. I think you succeeded. I did laugh because last year there was a little rom-com called Mixed Baggage that I thought was absolutely brilliant. It was one of my favorite rom-coms, period, not even just TV movies. But I kind of teased everybody involved with that about the Canadian big. And so it made me laugh. You got lots of bigs.
You cannot hide it. It doesn't matter how hard we try to pass it off as Chicago. Right. Big about. I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry. I can't. I'm terrible. When I was working on The Boys, they had to have someone off camera always to be like, "Watch your abouts." Abouts. And I was like, I can't make my mouth do it. It's the only thing I can say. Pasta, Mazda, whatever. I can round my A's. About.
It made me laugh because there's a lot of bags. There's a lot of bags in this movie.
It adds to the charm.
Yeah, it does.
Go with that.
But I don't think that it's been a while, at least since I think Christopher Russell has been this charming.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he was really good in this.
I'm so curious to hear what do you find was different about this one? If you can.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to like it, I have to say, I should say it's usually not his fault. He's just in not very good scripts, and this was a much better script. And I don't know, this one just allowed him to be kind of funny and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that's why is it like allowed him to be funny.
I think that's a big thing that we're always kind of looking for is we're actors as well. So giving actors an opportunity to like we've actually maybe this is I don't know, this is maybe off the record, but we've heard notes before saying we're not sure that we can get the right performance on this. Or this might be a bit too performance heavy. And I'd say give actors, give directors, give everyone a bit of credit. I think
Yeah.
we want to stretch. We want to, and people want to see it. I think people want to see people getting a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to see something a bit different.
You know, it's tricky because we were just talking about a movie a couple months ago, one of the Hallmark movies where what the actress was really leaning into the into the humor and it just was not landing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it just because it wasn't from like I think what makes things the funniest is when it's like a relatable situation and it's just a little bit out of whack, a little bit, and that's what makes it funny because it's like, oh, we can relate to it. I mean, unless you're one of the greats, if you're a Jim Carrey, if you're a Lucille Ball, if you're then you can do the way over the top, Madeline Kahn and What's Up Doc, things like that. You can do the way over the top and it'll land and be funny. But for the average person, I think that sort of more just sort of heightened reality is usually where most of the laughs will come.
There's nothing. The thing that I've played over and over in my head as a writer and especially as an actor is don't play the comedy. Let the comedy come through. So when we write with comedy intentionally, we even write. I like to think of writing almost as like a musical rhythm.
Yeah.
His intention behind every line, the way that we back and forth, the amount of beats we put in each line. There's a pattern to comedy, and if you lean into it, if you kind of free fall into it, it'll happen.
Yeah,
you're right. There's exceptions, like Robin Williams can make comedy out of fun.
Yeah. Like this is a weird example, but the recent Despicable Me 4 movie.
Okay.
It had a lot of jokes that I didn't recommend the film. It had a lot of jokes that didn't really work, but the one that made me laugh the most is the villain is trying to use the scanning, like he's trying to get gas from the thing, and the stupid card reader won't work. Like that was funny. And he's like pushing it in. He's trying to scan it. Nothing will work. Yes. And that was way funnier than the big over the top, like, gags that they have throughout the film.
Because you're relating to it.
Yeah.
Same reason people like fawn over Jerry Seinfeld's because they're like, airplanes are bad. You're so right about that.
It's true. It really is.
Do they put the tissue in the box? Like everything is appealing to like all of us feeling united and feeling as one.
Were you able to be on set at all for this Operation Nutcracker?
No, unfortunately not. I actually, except for Kiss the Cook, we haven't been on set of any of the movies we've written, which might be on purpose. I don't know. They just don't want me to button my hat in.
I hope you get to.
I can't wait.
It must have been fun for them though, filming in that Christmas store.
I mean, I certainly think so because, you always have to write with ambiance in mind.
Yeah.
Giving beautiful set pieces. And sometimes we write something and I'm like, oh, they don't. Like I have such a clear image of what I want it to be.
Was this in Vancouver?
Yeah. Operation Nutcracker, no, was here. This was in Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah. It was outside. Like Hamilton.
If I ever go there, I want to go to that store. That looked amazing.
Like so cute. And maybe I won't say it's rare because I actually have found that we've been very, very lucky. And a lot of the movies I've had Christmas plus one, especially if people are looking for something, not to toot my own horn, if you're looking for something fun and aesthetic to watch, Christmas Plus One, I highly recommend. I think they did a wonderful, wonderful job of bringing that to light and making it look like a world you want to live in. And that's always what I'm imagining. I'm like, how can I make this escapism as authentic and like just dream worthy as possible? And so that store really hit it out of the park for me.
Yeah.
I was thrilled.
It was really fun. I had a similar, I went to a place like that in Los Angeles. Is kind of a funny story. I was there for D23, I think it was, anyway. And I saw it, and they didn't say on the Google, it didn't say like this is industry only or we have to buy appointment or whatever. It just said listing this place, and I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing! This huge Christmas like prop store and everything. And so I just like showed up. And this is a good example of it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Yes.
So I just showed up and I was like, hey, I have a podcast. And they were super sweet and nice. And they were like,
good.
sure, we'll show you around. And so I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't just ask, it turns out. That's so amazing that you did that. Yeah. I'm way too chicken. If I see.
Yeah. I mean, you get a lot in life by just, you don't want to be rude, but just, I mean, and if they'd asked me to leave, I would have left. But I was just kind of like, hi.
And it turns out people really do just want to help other people and like be nice to each other, like especially if you're just not a arse about it.
Yeah.
People want to give you what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
so fun. It was so fun. I was just like, they had like row after row of like tree skirts and tree toppers and I mean just everything you could think of. It was incredible.
I feel like I need to go there for inspiration because
it was
like
I guess I'll message you. I'll remember was it Frost Christmas props? I think it might be it. Or LA winter holiday decorations, Frost Christmas props in Los Angeles. That's it. And
you have to think about, there are so many Christmas movies being made. I mean, luckily there's no end to the amount of Christmas decorations being supplied, but they all go into a warehouse somewhere for these.
Yeah.
You really like
I mean, there have to be amazing places like that in Vancouver. I would love to see.
Huge. So I've been into some prop houses before just for my acting stuff, and I've seen the bunkers they have filled with trees, and I would love to play a game. I don't know, I'm sure people are this diehard where you watch several movies made within the same few years and you try to spot the same decorations. Because I have seen in a movie that my friend I did the same wreath. I know it was the same.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. There was even a pair of earrings that were in multiple.
I'm not. Well, because there's that classic red dress, red lip.
Yeah.
Scene that
it's
all
true.
of our ladies need to have.
Mm-hmm. And it is nice when they go green for the dress.
As a redhead, I love when they go green.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm like, let's see more green representation.
But I'm usually fine as long as they're not wearing black or some weird color. I'm like, what is happening? Why is
what is it, Halloween?
No, for a Christmas movie. You've seen I've seen it, and I'm like, that is not right. Why is your character like for a New Year's movie? I'll allow it. But like it needs to be it needs to be green, red, occasionally blue. Can work.
For New Year's, I could do like When Harry Met Sally. I'll be so embarrassed if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure she's wearing a blue sparkly dress. That to me is, if I'm wrong about this, I might and acting.
Yeah.
That'll be embarrassing. I hope.
Were you concerned at all? Were they concerned about the Nutcracker looking fancy enough?
Very concerned.
Yeah. You got to sell it that it's a special like.
And where do you find such a Nutcracker? Like in my head, I had the Nutcracker that was on my mantle growing up that was very sentimental to our family, but that's not recognizable enough. We needed something that would stand out. And so we had to write into, that's actually where the gold emblem on its hat came from, was a note that we got saying, how are people going to know it's special? We need it to sparkle or something. So we were like, we'll add a gold emblem that's very specific and it'll sparkle every time it's on screen. But yes, that was a huge concern. And again, we kind of get removed from the process once our job is done and it goes to camera. We're kind of out of the picture. So it's kind of, there's a bit of anxiety.
Do they send you the dailies or anything like that, or?
No, sometimes, depending if they have the time and energy to kind of indulge us, I guess. Usually they're just like, we have rewrites or like we have notes, do this. They're not sending us the dailies. But yeah, so we usually have to wait until we see like the promos, and then I'm like obsessively looking at every detail. Did they get that? Oh, okay. They got it.
But I thought there were some real swoon-worthy lines in the movie. When it says, "It seems like we always find what we're looking for," like that one was fun.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. That's. I'm glad that you pulled that one out. I love the line, and it's something that you kind of, at a certain point, not to get too mushy, but you kind of look at your own life and look for lessons that you've been learning and put those into the script. And I mean,
and I like when these movies lean into the camp and the cheese. Like I sometimes I think Hallmark's actually a little afraid. Oh, people are gonna think we're cheesy. No, don't worry about that. Lean into it. We want to see swoon-worthy guys. We want to see them so in love. We want to see and
I want to reflect. Like I want to look at them and be like, I want that too.
Yeah, this is not the place for gritty realism, like at all. No. Like we don't need to see like that marriage is hard, and we don't need to see that relationships are difficult. Yeah, we know that. We're not watching Hallmark for that.
I want to escape. I want to escape reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see on screen what I want for my life. I mean, that's kind of what we do is we take life, we turn it into art. I look at the art and I try to translate it into my own life. It's a beautiful give and take.
Because the truth is, yes, of course, relationships are hard, but also they're kind of cheesy. I mean, if you take any couple and you sit down and you say, like, tell me your story, like most of the time they kind of have a meet cute, how they met, they have. And it's usually pretty corny, and that's part of the fun of it, it's just, and so you don't need for this genre, I think sometimes we overcomplicate it, I think.
And we know people, it's as popular as it is for a reason. So it's kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's really true. I mean, especially in publishing. I mean, the romance genre is basically saving publishing right now. I mean, it is way more popular than anything else.
Don't even get me started. I am the biggest fan. It got me back into reading. I've always been a reader.
Me too. Yeah.
I indulge in stories. I have again, sitting at home instead of going out reading Harry Potter for the 15 millionth time. But I started getting back into romance during a really difficult time in my life, and it saved me, I think. And I was able to escape through these books, and it is saving the publishing industry. And you can see it all over TikTok. Like it's young people too, which I think is incredible. And I think there's also a huge influx of young viewership of these movies. I think we've kind of assumed there's a different demographic that is watching, but I have friends across the board, all ages, who have viewing parties of these movies. Like teenagers are starting.
Well, and especially if you look like Netflix, there's been so many really great young adult teen romances lately. I mean, this was on Disney Plus, but Prom Pact was so good. And the To All the Boys movies were great. There's just been some really good ones.
All the Boys I Loved Before is one of my inspirations. The summer I turned pretty, I watched it like twice in a row, and it was just like, ideas. Like I was transported back to my like childhood summer, and that's what it is. It's how can you transport yourself through these stories, because we all need a little escapism, and we all need a little more romance. Like it's hard out there.
Yeah, it is. Well, do you know, was it hard for them to actually stage the Nutcracker for like multiple scenes? They have the actual Nutcracker going on.
I have no idea. That part I was
Mm.
completely out of the loop on. I wish I knew.
Yeah, that'd be
And
interesting to know if there was a company that they just sort of used their Nutcracker,
I'm
or if
very
they,
curious. I'm very
they
curious because that was another production note that we got that I'm so grateful that they
because
gave
there's
it.
quite a bit. I mean, it's a pretty big scene of the Nutcracker.
I was very shocked because we got a lot of pushback because
Yeah,
this is always the way it works.
sure.
Again, and writer will tell you you throw a lot out there and they're like, okay, reel it in, buddy. Because we
Yeah,
only
yeah,
have so
yeah.
much money and so many locations. And that was one that they were really, really concerned about. And I was like, if we're going to have a movie about a nutcracker, let's see it. Let's
Hmm.
see what it is that we are talking
Yeah.
about. Let's give
I
the
was
view.
surprised because it's not just like one dancer. And they
I know
got it.
I actually should ask because we're working with the same production company right now on another script. Uh,
Yeah. I'd be
and
just curious if they were like, oh, well, let's call the Ontario Nutcracker, whatever, and have them
that would
come
be
and do it or something
I was
like that.
dreaming of that because I actually so the little girl in the movie is based off of my goddaughter, um,
Uh-huh.
and
She's
she
cute.
loves the Nutcracker and she wants
Uh,
to be in it and she danced in her local production and I took her to go see it at the National Ballet and she was just completely transported. Like she
mhm.
walked out of there with glitter in her eyes. Like she was just like she never did anything more magical. And I was like, this is what I would like to capture. Is this like
Yeah.
childhood um how it can transport you, this kind of live
Yeah.
theater.
Well, and that dad was good because he's not like unreasonable. Sometimes the way they do the parents, like and it wasn't like I really hate the whole idea of like the workaholic dad who needs to be reformed. I hate that trope. And that's not what you had here with this dad. Like he was like they were disappointed in him a little bit, but it wasn't like, oh, you're the worst dad, kind of a thing because you're working. I don't know. I thought that
Yeah,
dynamic was good with that dad.
you have to and thank you for again for bringing that up because it is also important that like I think people have to work to support their
Yeah.
family and it's not necessarily it's not a fatal flaw that you want
Yeah.
family.
Like it worked in Mary Poppins. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Especially in the 90s, it was terrible. I mean, so many movies are
yeah,
like that. And I always hate the scene where they're like standing up in the board meeting and they're like, I have to leave, to make the
I like
recital, the swim meet, the whatever it is. And I'm like, no, just finish your stupid presentation.
like you're inconveniencing so many people. It's the same thing when you're watching like a big car chase in an action movie
Yeah.
and a car flips over on another car and I'm like someone's sister was in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what's
It's
the
true.
person's story?
Yeah. 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 But really, I mean, like the Santa Claus is that way. There were
Yes.
so many. Hook is that way. There were so many movies in the 90s that were that way. The Workaholic Dad, the Jack Frost,
Yeah.
there were tons and terrible. Almost
Megan
always, every once in a while there'd be a workaholic mom, but
Yeah.
not that often. Not that often.
No.
Anyway, well, very good. I really enjoyed the film. It was very charming and just everything you could want from like I think a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Oh, I'm so happy to
So
hear that. That makes me
yeah.
so happy because you never, I like to read as many reviews as I can because
Uh-huh.
I'm a little obsessive. And it's so heartwarming to hear when you put so much effort and we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into
Yeah.
this one. Like it was a long process. And when we finally got it and it made it to camera and people reacted well, it's like nothing is more satisfying. So
Mhm.
I'm so happy to hear that you liked it.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun rapid fire. In this case, you're getting the Christmas questions since
Ready.
it's a Christmas movie. Okay,
As I'm
first one.
sweating in my apartment.
Yeah, that's right. What is your favorite holiday drink?
Peppermint hot chocolate.
Okay, good. What is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Oh God. I like, oh, this is so bad because I'm not really a sweets person, which is, criminal for a Christmas writer. But I think it would probably be, candy cane fudge ice cream.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Leaning
Yeah.
into the cold.
Okay. What's your favorite Christmas song or carol?
It would probably be Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
She's a queen. She's a queen.
Banger.
Yeah.
It's a banger.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Okay, what's your favorite classic Christmas movie?
Christmas in Connecticut, actually.
Yay. Very good. Okay. Which do you like better, Scrooge or The Grinch?
Scrooge.
Okay, good. Which do you like better, clear lights or colored?
Oh, colored. 100%.
Okay, good. Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
Build a snowman.
Okay,
Ouch.
good. Yeah. Okay. Would you consider yourself a good gift wrapper?
No.
No.
There's a lot of love behind it. I would say it's charming. There's effort, but it's never clean. It's never precise.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. All right. Last question. Do you have an ugly Christmas sweater?
Several.
Oh, good.
Naturally.
What's your ugliest Christmas sweater?
Honestly, it's not even like a kitschy one. It's just a very poorly made, sweater that a family member made that I was like,
Oh, it's like real. See, that's good.
Oh, no, it's real.
It's real. It's not one of these manufactured ones.
No, it's real and it's bad, but that kind of adds to the charm.
Yeah.
of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And it's like, it's not well made either. So it's kind of falling apart like on the sleeve. So you
Oh,
have
nice.
full armpit. The colors aren't great. It's
Yeah.
bad.
That's legit. I respect that.
Yeah, it's
That's
an
a real.
authentic ugly Christmas
Yeah.
sweater.
Yeah.
I'm not like leaning into this trendy stuff. It's ugly Christmas sweater. It's real.
Yeah. Good. Very good. Well, you did it. You answered all the questions.
Oh, that was exhausting. I need a break.
Well, keep us posted on all of your many projects, acting and writing. It was so much fun to get to meet you. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, this
And
is really fun.
yeah, if people want to follow you on socials, how do they do that?
Yeah, so it's just on Insta. I'm not very active, to be honest, but it's Katy.Breier on Instagram.
Okay,
Really,
great.
I'm not really active on Twitter or anything or whatever it's called now. So it's really just
Yeah, I refuse to call it X. I won't do it.
I keep bringing myself to do it. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, very good. Thanks again. And we'll look forward to what you have coming up. Hopefully some fun projects.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Marshall because he'll be popping.
Oh, yeah. I will.
Keep an eye out.
I'd like to thank Katy for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to get to talk with her. I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about all the things we talked about in the comment section or on Twitter. And please like this video if you're watching on YouTube. Please, if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We appreciate that so much. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And you can follow the podcast, Hallmarkies Podcast, all over the place. Make sure you check out the Patreon group. We talk about those watch-alongs. They're so much fun. I wouldn't be surprised if we have Katy on one of these days. And then we also have the merch store where you can get tons of fun holiday-inspired designs. So check that out. And thanks again to Katy. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.